PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster I was just thinking about recycling some papers that I have scattered around me that I have to be careful. Like I said, it's time to recycle some paper, Scoots. And I recycle like if I had jokes, I would recycle them. But they're they're like a halfway cycled jokes. I don't have any cycling jokes either. Because I wouldn't even know where to start. Say, well, flat tires. I don't know. That might be a punchline. You'd say stripped gears. Har. So if you're confused, if you're in search of a setup, but you just got a punchline, and or you say, well, there's a setup. You know, once a bicyclist rides into a bar, you're in the right place because it's time for Sleep With Me. It's full of incomplete thoughts, incomplete jokes. It's a podcast that puts you to sleep. And these are the ways we're able to be here for you for free twice a week. Hey, everybody. This is a part of the show where I ask you to sign up and support the show on Patreon, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. But I'm going to ask that you don't sign up for the bonus content, for the ad-free episodes, for the all-intro episodes, for the story-only episodes, for the all-night episodes. I'm going to ask you to sign up as a patron or come back as a patron only if you feel connected, only if the podcast makes you feel safe and cared for in the deep, dark night. You know, it's a rarity. I've been lucky enough to make this podcast since 2013 and to have it come out on a regular basis. I've never had to take any hiatuses. We take small breaks, but we've never had to put the show on hold before. I've been able to keep the podcast dependably coming out, consistently coming out since I started the show. And because I'm not able to do that alone at all. It's because of you and people like you who feel cared for, who feel so connected. They voluntarily pay for the podcast because they say, oh yeah, there is a cost to the show coming out consistently and dependably. So if you still feel cared for, if you feel connected to the show, if the podcast has made you feel safe in the deep, dark night, the regular schedule, the rhythm of the podcast, the variety of the podcast, I'd ask that you consider returning as a patron or becoming a patron, particularly an annual patron. It's a great deal. You save money, we save money on processing fees, and really deepen your connection to the show if you're in a position to do so. Not if it's a financial stress, if you can, or you can put some other subscription on hold that you don't use. What other subscriptions make you feel this connected in the deep, dark night? Do you use them as much as Sleep With Me? So think about it and you say, oh, no, yeah, I do feel cared for, and I'm going to care back. Sign up at sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, Patron. And when you sign up, message me right when you sign up through the Patreon. Right after you sign up, send me a message and let me know how it feels. Do you feel more cared for now that you're supporting the podcast? Do you feel more connected, a deeper connection to the show? Do you feel a part of when you sign up by taking that action? Let me know, or not. Let me know. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Thanks so much. All right, everybody, it is time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, the one part of the podcast I need you here. It's where I pop my peas. If you please, I thank the listeners who supported the sponsors, and I'm looking for people to thank here on the Sleepy Supporter Zone. If you support a sponsor, make sure to thank them on social media. Let them know you heard about them on the show. Our sponsors are Direct Response. Let me know about it, too. sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors, and I will send you a thank you video because I appreciate it. I appreciate you helping keep the show free for everybody. So please, if you listen to the show for free, check out our sponsors at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. That's what keeps the podcast coming out for free for everybody. The next part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need. If you're having a tough time right now, there's links to resources that you could connect with, including international resources right in our show notes. It's also about being a part of community and positive change, not just saying Black Lives Matter, not just saying stop AAPI hate, not just saying support Ukraine, doing, but taking action. There's links to resources where you can learn more and take action in our show notes. And, one of the things we're doing is building hygiene kits for people experiencing homelessness. We're supporting the Midnight Mission. We're doing live shows with Zooms, gathering as a community, working together, taking small steps and having fun doing it. I'd love for you to be there. It's all free. You don't even have to do anything if you don't want to. And you could sign up for free, come to our live shows, free streams, sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission, sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission. Every Monday, you'll get a newsletter with a video from me. Very simple, just talking about what we're doing, what we got coming up. I'd love for you to be there. I'd love to see you in person. We just had a live show. We had a bunch of people come out in person and on Zoom. It was so much fun. So be a part of it. sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission. Oh, Mystery Bart, a lot of people help out on this show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at JonathanMann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bart. Again, I'd love to see you for free in person. You want more Sleep With Me? You want more Scooter? You want more fun stuff? You want to be a part of something? Be a part of our community? Sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission. Please join us there. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts, thoughts on your mind, thoughts that you're thinking about. So thoughts, thinking thoughts. Feelings, so anything you're feeling that's coming up for you emotionally. So thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, anything maybe you're feeling physically, whatever it is that's keeping you awake. I'm here to take you, to keep you company and take your mind off of it. I guess my mind is bouncing around here, but I'm basically here to be near your bedside or far away from your bedside, but have my voice within distance that you can just kind of listen to something else. And then I can kind of lightly comfort you, keep you company, and take your mind off whatever's keeping you awake. Because you deserve a good night's sleep. That's really why I'm here, and to attempt to provide that. And the way I attempt to do it is a little bit different than most stuff out there. And I'll explain all that coming up here. But the first thing I do is I try to create a safe place that you could come visit, or I could send it to you, or you could look at it from far away, or move slowly closer, or say, okay, that's close enough. And I relate to that. If my mind hasn't said that, my body has, or my nonverbal communication, or the furrow between my eyes, which is probably my furrow, the furrow between my brows has gone verbal. I got a message from a seismologist. They said, I believe the furrow between your eyes has gone fully verbal. And I said, great. I said, great. Does that mean it just still I don't know. Maybe one day I'll do a podcast. I guess I could do that. Could be what the next episode we do about my furrow in my brow. I don't know what we'll do about it, but I think I'm going to hold on. I'm going to write that down. So I guess that's what later on we'll be talking about. When I was writing down, I just like wrote it down. I cut that out. But then I was writing ideas, and I said, what about fast and furrow? The furious furrow at first I thought. And I said, well, that's not very sleepy. And then I said, what about fast and furrowous? And said, maybe. So we'll see. But so what was it about the furrow in my? Oh, it went verbal. Why was that important? I don't know. But I'm here to keep you. Because I said that's close enough. I think that's usually my furrow does that. Where it's like says, I'm thinking about something, but I'm not willing to talk about it. So true, right? Some of you might be able to relate. If you've been, and then if you're on the receiving end of a furrow, I have resting furrow face, though. Unfortunately, I do. I'm always there could be, we wouldn't need that on a t-shirt because it's already apparent. But it's not you. It's me. This furrow, the furrow up there, it's not you. It's me. But it could be you. But then it would still be me. But it might be you. So if my brow's furrowed, it might not be you. But maybe think about if it is. So then I don't have to talk about it. But that would make it me. So this could be another one of our super long t-shirts that we never sell. So, yeah, there's that. What was my point? I have a point, the pointed furrow. So whatever's keeping you awake, I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off of it because your sleep's important. So yeah, I've got a safe place set aside. Then I'll send it across my voice across the deep, dark night. I'll use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, which means I'm going to go off a topic. I'm going to get mixed up. I'll go back, then I'll forget what I was talking about. You just kind of saw that. Then I'll say, what it says, like 40 furious furrows, fantastically, I don't know. So like frosted French, some French fudge. No, because that's not a tongue twister, but that's like me brainstorming a tongue twister in the middle of trying to introduce a sleep podcast. So, so if you're new, I'm glad you're here. Let me give you some information, because if you're new, you may be skeptical, you may be doubtful, you may be like even, more extreme feelings than that. And so I want to kind of soothe that for you and give you some information. But that's a normal way to come to the show. That's how most people get here, because maybe you tried a ton of stuff to fall asleep. Maybe you've been searching for something for a long time. You haven't found anything to help. Maybe you tried a bunch of different stuff out. Maybe somebody told you about this show. You said, what is this person talking about? That's normal. So don't worry about it. It takes most regular listeners, like fans of the show, in the feedback I get, it takes them 2 or 3 tries to get into the podcast. So just see how it goes. I'm going to give you a little bit of stuff. The first thing, like I said, the most important thing is you. You deserve a good night's sleep and a place you can rest. You deserve a bedtime you at least feel neutral about, if not that you could look forward to, not one you dread. And you deserve the rest so your life is more manageable. If you're getting the rest you need, your life's going to be better. And that really means the world I'm in is better to be in. If your life's a little bit better and manageable, and then if you're out there flourishing, that's important, right? It's important to me, and it really is true. Like, you deserve it. And I've been there. That's the other reason. You say, well, you don't know me. So how do you know? And I say, well, because I've been there. I've been on the other side of it, tossing, all that stuff. So I know I'm dreading bedtime. I know how that feels, or waking up. So if I can help, it's important to me. Now, that's the one caveat. This show just doesn't work for everybody, but see how it goes. And a couple of reasons it doesn't work for everybody. One, it's kind of hard at first to listen to a podcast that you're only barely supposed to listen to, because your expectation might be, okay, when are you going to put me to sleep, or when's the bedtime story going to start? Or how does this work? And it just kind of works like this. I will tell a story. I guess tonight will be about my furrowed brow or whatever. Probably won't be that straightforward, because my furrow ain't straightforward. It's straightforward in its messaging. Like, what if one day someone's like, we elected, like, so that person, Scooter's not the president of the United States. The furrow in his brow is running the country. They elected that. No, not his furrow. There was a different one. Look, they look similar depth and intensity. You say, okay, at least that was a dream Scooter had. So not a dream, like a dream I had, not a dream. I mean, it's a made imaginary dream. Sorry. Not a dream I aspire. But just a dream that I could have had at night when I was sleeping. Oh, so what was I trying to say? Oh, so this is a show you don't really listen to. You just kind of barely pay attention. It's always going and never starting. It's always going nowhere. So just kind of see how it goes. So that's one thing, is the show's very different. Just kind of see how it goes. And it's not for everybody, but give it a few tries. Because not listening to a podcast, it's almost like I'm your friend talking to you in the deep, dark night. I'm not even here to put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company. To be your boar friend, your boar bae, your boar sib, your boar bestie, your boar burr, your neighbor, your boar bud. Your friend in the deep, dark night, to keep you company. So that's what my job is. That's what I'm here for. What else do you need to know? This podcast you don't really listen to. It doesn't really put you to sleep. Oh, structure the show. So the show is structured very differently, which some people, it's hard at first, but the show is structured in a way you can adjust it as you become a regular listener, but it's kind of built around the specific goals of the podcast. So this podcast starts off with a greeting, friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Then I say something silly, or ideally barely, almost witty, nearly witty, and to try to win you over, but also so you feel seen and welcomed in. You say, okay, this is a safe place at least I could check out and look into. So that's the greeting. Then there's a support for the show, because my goal is that the podcast comes out twice a week for free. A lot of hard work has gone into the show since we started it in 2013 to make every single episode. But I prefer that the podcast come out for free twice a week so that you can listen, and you can listen wherever you want to, whatever podcast app you like. So the sponsors and the listeners who support the show are what enable us to do that. Then there's support for listeners if you're having a tough time, and then there's support for communities around the podcast. Then there's an intro, in that we're like 10 minutes into it. And the intro is where I go on and on and on to introduce the podcast. It's separate from the support. It is a show within a show, and it serves two purposes. One, to introduce the podcast to new listeners, but for both regular listeners and new listeners, the intro is also part of the wind down, or the turn down, or like a buffer between being awake and going to sleep. And that's the only thing that's really worked for me, is having some kind of wind down routine. And so the intro is a part of that, right? And it just gives you some space to ease into bedtime. And I guess that's what the intro does. It's a buffer. Some people are listening while they're getting ready for bed. Some people are petting their pets. Some listeners are in bed, like relaxing. Some are asleep. About 2% of people skip ahead to 20 minutes, but many more people listen to story-only episodes on Patreon. So it's like you can kind of see how it goes. There's actually more people that like listening to the intros than the stories in the paid version, but it's pretty close. So just to kind of see how it goes at first, but the intro, at least it'll help because this podcast is just not going to put you to sleep instantly. It's here to keep you company and help you drift into bedtime, like a slow landing strip. So that's the intro. Then there's support between the intro and the show. Again, podcasts can come out twice a week for free, and it can support all the work that goes into the show. And then there's the story, which tonight apparently will be about a furrowed brow. I'm going to have to do some research or something. And then there'll be some thank yous at the end of the show. So this is a structured show. That's why I make the show. I'm really glad you're here. I really appreciate you checking the podcast out, giving me your time. And I really hope I can help you fall asleep. Thanks again for coming by. And here's a couple of ways I'm able to do it for you for free twice a week. All right, everybody, it is time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Brooklinen. And oh boy, things are heating up. And you know what I don't want is things heating up in my bedroom because I need a good night's sleep. And with summer upon us, those temperatures are rising. But I love my Brooklinen sheets. They're cool, they're crisp, they're comfortable. And that's what Brooklinen has set up for everybody. They've got their best-selling bedding, their loungewear, towels, and more. So whether you sleep hot throughout the summer or year-round like me, make your entire bed feel like the cool side of the pillow with Brooklinen's signature crisp, breathable percale sheets, and replace your heavy winter bedding with their lightweight comforters for the ultimate breezy, light as a cloud feel. And since each is crafted with smooth, long staple cotton, you'll be drifting off to sleep in no time while staying chill throughout the night. It sounds like perfect date between me and my bedding. But if you're not sure where to start, you could shop with ease thanks to Brooklinen's online quiz. Whether you're looking for the perfect set of cooling sheets, lightweight towels, breathable loungewear, their quiz is the best place to find a curated list of high-quality products perfectly suited to you and your preferences. And you don't have to take our word for it either. As a matter of fact, check out Brooklinen's website to read over 100,000 five-star reviews from people all around the world. You heard that right. Over 100,000 five-star reviews. Whether it's those beautiful beach towels and those crisp and cool sheets, you can't go wrong with Brooklinen. So celebrate the summertime and head over to Brooklinen today to keep your cool at home and on the go all summer long. Go to brooklinen.com and use the promo code SLEEPWITHME to get $20 off your purchase of $100 or more and free shipping. That's BROOKLINEN.com and use that promo code SLEEP WITH ME for $20 off and free shipping. Brooklinen.com and use Sleep With Me. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's Scoots here, and this is it's going to be interesting. Fast in the furrow. This is a story about a furrow in a brow. Oh, boy, is it. And it's called Fast and Furrow, Fast and Furrow, Fast and Furrow. I was trying to say, I'm not doing this as a bit either. I wrote it down. You'd just be surprised that saying it is much harder than writing it. I mean, not spelling it. Furrow, fury. Furrow us, fast and furrow us. There we go. Feels like it. But that's the story we're telling tonight. Because once upon a time, there was a being. You know, we'll just call it. What do you call it? It's like above the bridge of my nose, right? And in the middle of my forehead. Forbridge. Oh, boy, there was someone named Forbridge a long, long time ago, and they were a big fan of, we'll see how much I can remember of the, they were a big fan of bikes. Holy cow, did they love bike riding. And they loved riding their bike. Now, they only rode their bike for leisure, though. And now, not to say, what was the name of the thing? Old Forbridge. Now, Forbridge came from a family in a world where that's what you did, is you rode a bike for leisure. And I guess there was a unsophisticated message also broadcast, because part of, deep down, old, what was it? Forbridge. Sorry, Forbridge. I just don't, getting names down is not always my forte, except for Will Forte. That's what I always, if you had Forbridge, it should be easy to remember. You'd think it'd be easy to say, just like fast and furrowous is now easy to say. But so as old Forbridge, Forbridge would secretly see people going by on their bikes fast, We're just talking about bicycles. They lived in a bicycle-friendly world. A lot like ours, though. There was other, but, maybe it was in a different, Northern European climate. I don't know. Well, that's short for climate. They think they even have words for it. Bikes and pedestrians first. Fantasy. That's what part of my brain said. Wonderful fantasy, just like this fiction here. So, but old Forbridge loved riding bikes. And when they'd be out with the family would scoff at those people going by really fast, even if they weren't going really that fast. And they'd say, bikes are this is for relaxing and leisure. That's why we ride our bikes. Also, as a part of a leisurely experience, we may go get a cone of, do you want to go fast or do you want a cone of creamed ice, Forbridge? And as a lad, of course, Forbridge would say, well, I'd like to go fast and have ice cream in their head. But they knew better. That old mama and papa bridge, whatever their names were, I don't know, mama and papa bridge. In this world, your name, don't worry about it. And so Forbridge, you said, well, I'd like both. But they say, okay, I prefer the creamed ice. And you say, okay, well, biking's for leisure, right? And eventually, like a lot of us, Forbridge would see people going fast. And, as it, like the way, Forbridge saw, Mama and Papa were his heroine and his hero. And they did the best job that they could, with Forbridge, which wasn't always easy. The paths we bike on are not all perfect asphalt, and some of us make an asphalt out of, ourselves and our bikes, and, it's just a part of life. Like Papa Forbridge would say, sometimes you ride on the asphalt, and sometimes the asphalt rides on you every once in a while. And until Forbridge experienced that, said, "What, Papa? I don't." And one day you'll understand. Also, it's a metaphor, and it's not a metaphor. And Forbridge said, "Okay, Papa. So don't go fast. We ride for leisure. We ride for the love of." Being in some sort of balance, being propelled forward on a machine that may or may not be efficient. I've heard it described in such a way. And they do, they would do things like whistle and hum and, special occasions. They didn't go caroling, believe it or not, the Forbridges, Forbridge family. They did sing "We Are the Forbridge Family" on the Forbridge, for the founding of Forbridge Family Day, but that wasn't a major holiday. But they instead of going they would go caroling on bikes. They lived in a climate that was, like I said, bike friendly. Like 9 months out of the year. I mean, 10 or 11 if you wore a slicker, and you were willing to get a little bit damp or chilled. And so in their holiday season, they would go caroling. And they even tried fancy things like a barreling, but then Papa Forbridge said that's too much. We can't associate that with the fast bikers, because how are you going to carol? Because of the Doppler effect, if you were going fast, then caroling would be pointless. And ideally, they would do loops. So they were pretty good bikers, even though they were leisure bikers. And if you bike enough, you get used to biking. So Forbridge was always very fit for slow, because sometimes they'd use lower gears, not even going slow. They'd go up and down hills, But deep down in a place that Forbridge couldn't even see, there was a part of Forbridge that wanted to go fast, of course. And every once in a while, Forbridge would catch some speed on a downhill and feel that thrill. And Papa Forbridge would say, please apply your brakes equally, in the Forbridge way, so that we maintain a reasonable pace and control of our bikes. And what Forbridge did fantasize. One day I'll be, just barely on the edge, wind whipping through my hair, where because he saw people with their cheeks they'd be going so fast down the hill, their cheeks would be moving. Or, he did have some crushes that went by him and their hair was flowing behind them. Maybe even their clothes were billowing. But for the most part, Forbridge said, like a lot of us, adaptable and, conforms to the family values. And so it wasn't like a hard push down into the subconscious, but Forbridge said, we don't go fast. You're right. And sometimes what happens with that is that you become overly resistant to change, as we've all learned in our own different ways. And Forbridge eventually, and Forbridge's own, they had their own ups and downs, right? So their mama and their papa, they went to ride bikes somewhere, not in Northern Europe, somewhere so far north, the bikes probably were made of, clouds or, big farm in the sky type bikes. And Forbridge also didn't realize at the time that there was unrealistic ideals involved, both with pleasing mom and papa Forbridge, but like living out the ideals that Forbridge had created were when, your mind's still developing. And so Forbridge said, okay, I'm going to dedicate my life to leisure biking and making biking leisurely for everyone. And this going fast or putting batteries on bikes or engines on bikes or making bikes, bike racing in a contained area on a track. Forbridge was like, that's a different world. I ride a bike outdoors. And eventually, so Forbridge kind of knew their calling. They said, one day I'm going to be, bicycle BEO, man, bicycle enforcement officer, with the bike squads. Forbridge really thought, I'm living my dream here. I ride a bike. I get paid to ride a bike leisurely. I ride a bike leisurely, right? And, it was actually part of the bike squad's rules. Don't ride fast. Set a good example first. The great karmic wheel, they called it. Like, if someone's riding fast, eventually they'll slow down. And the great karmic wheel of the bike, the great bike and the bike that on which the spoke on which we all our lives turn. Or our own internal, find your own internal grips or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot to, understand about that lifestyle. They didn't have separation of rules and belief systems in this world. So it was like, it was a combo type thing. And was it Nosebridge? Bridge Nose? Forbridge was into it. He said, okay, I'm into this. But I'm not into, and every once in a while, Forbridge would get carried away and go a little fast when they saw somebody going fast and they wanted them to go slow. And they get called into the boss's office and she would say, Forbridge, we've been over this before. Tell me, okay, we believe in the karmic, turning of the wheel and that everyone must slow down eventually. And, we have a system to get them a ticket anyway, so you don't have to go after them or even try to catch up to them, even if it's just slightly a faster pace and leisure. But Forbridge, Forbridge was by the book, but not always. And so then Forbridge would get very upset and say, oh, man, I did it again. And every once in a while, Forbridge would, push their bike, and toss it and say, man, I'm sick and tired of this thing. But, the bigs were watching, and then they tried to mentor Forbridge. And they say, you got a hot temper, kid. You got to get that under control. It's going to eat you up and, make your wheels go flat. this one person they tried said, I went out on hottest day of the year. My tires melted when I stopped moving. But if I was moving too fast, they would have melted too. Forbridge did some quick math and they said, wait, what? And, deep down, Forbridge was in conflict, right? Wanted to go fast, but couldn't, it's not easy living that way, right? But Forbridge was also committed outwardly to this life, right? This is my life. This is what I'm into. But there was one day, Forbridge, after this happened, because then Forbridge thought, well, maybe I'll start running after the bikes. Maybe then I can run fast. This is one of the trails Forbridge went down. So I can run fast, right? If I can't bike fast, I can run fast. And they, a couple of people said, what are you doing, kid? You can't run faster than a bike. You're already on a bike moving at a leisurely pace. You could barely run faster than that. But Forbridge thought about all the lessons he learned from his family and said, wait a second, no one ever said anything about running fast. No one's going to tell me no. And Forbridge got into running as a hobby, right? Running fast. And then actually now this is where you get into mechanical stuff. Forbridge also had a very mechanical mind. You learn to fix your own bikes. You learn to, maintain them. And Forbridge learned to make this, what do you call that thing? A kickstand. He called it a flick stand so that Forbridge could jump off their bike and start running. Now, this is, especially if you're moving at a leisurely pace, don't do this because this is fiction. And Forbridge was, a genius. Also wearing a helmet at all times, even when running. But, and it had a special bike, with this tubes, so this was easy. So I don't want you to imagine that's just like a regular old 10-speed. This is a fictional world, bike-based belief system and governance. But that's not what this story is about. Thank goodness. But so, when Forbridge was working, if the time was right, first couple, now Forbridge slowly built up to this and said, okay, I'm going to be in running. I'm going to build up my sprint speed, a little bit of distance, but a lot more intervals, whatever that kind is called, where you Tabata running and all that stuff. Whatever the other one is, Furrowed, a lot of intervals and sprints, but again, some distance. But, Forbridge is more interested in that one day this is going to come in handy. And also, it was slightly thrilling to run fast, but it wasn't all the way there. So it's kind of like, I don't even know, going to a candy store and not buying the candy, I guess. You say, well, I smelled the candy. I tasted a free sample, but only one free sample per guest. And Forbridge thought about how they did that a lot as a family and said, wait a second. But so Forbridge got into this and said, okay, I've invented my kickstand. One day I'm going to hop off my bike while it's moving at a leisurely pace in a safe, 100% safe way that I've practiced over and over and over again. And I'll catch up with somebody and bust them, for whatever, biking without signals, biking in an aggressive manner, biking in a BIA M's, all that stuff. So then one day that's what Forbridge saw is like someone doing all those things, no turn signals, weaving, yelling, spitting, biking in an aggressive manner. And Forbridge said, okay, I'm going to follow at a leisurely pace. It's a pretty busy day. And when they slip up, I'm going to run after them and chase them down and bust them. because, if I can't, but, it's a conflict, there's two sides to every line or two ends or whatever. And Furrowed was trying to live on both of them unsuccessfully, right? Conflict, trying to pump up the front tire to put air in the back tire. It's not going to happen, kid. No one ever told Furrowed that yet. But so Furrowed chased this person down, right? And I think that's what they said to them, because they actually stopped. They said, "Did you run after me?" They laughed. Furrowed said, "Yeah, you're biking in an aggressive manner." And Furrowed, they said, "Was I? I was just having fun." And Furrowed said, "It didn't look like fun to the people, like, I said, I was safe. I didn't bump, I just was and Furrowed said, what about people that don't enjoy people biking in an aggressive manner? Or, you spit, and you said, in the grass, I spit. I know what I'm doing. I know how to spit in a somewhat polite manner that won't please everybody, but that at least is respectful to those people, whatever. Like mostly I was shooting spit in the sewer." Furrowed said, "I guess you did." And they said, "Listen, kid, you got to loosen up. You're pumping your front tire, inflate your back tire. Don't you see that? If you ever want to, live life, there's a bunch of us that, there's a bunch of us that bike like we're free, and you know where to find us." And they went off. Furrowed said, "Wow." And then Furrowed got back to their bike, and there was other bike officers, bike squatters there. And they were like, "We're going to have to write you up for this. You can't just leave your bike. Where were you? Why is your bike? What is this kick? This isn't a regulation kickstand. This is some sort of flick stand. Is this spring loaded?" And they said, "We're going to have to bring you in to meet with the boss again." And they brought up, and the boss said, "What happened?" And Furrowed said, they said, "Who?" They said, "Sorry, boss. I'm sorry you're so upset you can't say my name. But, yeah, I mean, I was trying to, someone was biking aggressively, and I just ran after them. I was like, and Furrowed actually, another lesson, maybe some Furrowed told untruth and said, I was tying my shoe and I couldn't get back on my bike in time. And I just happened to run after them because that's what I found myself doing. They weren't that far. I guess I lost track of time. And yeah, that's a spring-loaded flick stand. I was working on it to preserve the life of tires after, remember the boss before you that used to be around here to try to mentor us. They're always talking about hot pavement. I can't get it out of my head, that hot pavement. And I said, is there a way to lift both wheels of the bike off the hot pavement? And the boss, she said, wow. I've always been bothered by hot pavement since those idioms or whatever, they were trying to instill in me too. But I don't know. There's something about your story that doesn't quite add up. Who did you talk to? Did you write a ticket? And what was the bike number? And Furrowed realized that they didn't. They said, well, it's like this person, and they looked kind of tough. They had on a jean jacket with no sleeves on. And on the bike back, it had a patch, and it was called Furrow Free or something. And the boss, she said, interesting. And you didn't get the bike number or their name or anything. You just let them ride off into the sunset. And they said, well, I guess I was confused by this because I had been tying my shoe and I had to get back. I wanted to get back to my, my bike. And the boss, she said, I don't know about any of this. You're going to have to take a week off of work, unpaid. And you could leave your bike here. And also give us the plans for the flick stand. And obviously, like on the surface to the, low under the surface for old Fourbridge, this was pretty not great news. All those of us familiar with stories will say, oh, don't worry, it's all going to work out in an adventure and all that. But for Fourbridge, it was like, this was their way of life. It was like, what do you mean? I'm going to lose my job here. Then what? My life has no meaning. I should say this, that Fourbridge was also devastatingly handsome. And when I say devastatingly handsome, no matter what, you'd say, woof, man. Whether you were attracted to them or you were feeling like FOMO, like, man, I wish I like, does that person know? Like, I would like to know what it looks like to look like that. But Fourbridge really was caught up. That wasn't part of, Fourbridge was aware of it, but not aware of the power. A bit of aloof. I think because it would have meant going fast in other ways or something. And so, but Fourbridge was out walking with a sense of like a puppy dog lost. And, there's nothing more handsome than a handsome lost puppy dog that with steely blue eyes, who's reevaluating, like in the midst, they're in the midst of a personal dilemma that they don't even realize is a personal dilemma, a real one that's a call to adventure. And so Nosebridge was walking around, Fourbridge, and eventually they bumped into somebody, and it was somebody wonderful. And she said, excuse you. And Fourbridge said, excuse me. So, sorry about that. I was just doing some thinking. And she said, that's quite a furrow on your brow there. What do you think? You must be thinking about something important. Because you look furrowous, and Fourbridge was like, what? And like, then she made this, somehow, like, sure, her forehead would not furrow in that way. But when she wrinkled her forehead and her dimples came out, there's nothing Fourbridge could do but laugh, because she was also smiling while furrowing her brow. And her eyes, instead of the normal furrow, they lit up. Fourbridge couldn't think of anything to say. And I don't know if the ability to go you talk like this comes with the good looks, too, but it said, thanks, it needed that. And she said, no problem. I'm here every day. And Fourbridge said, oh, like, is that it? Like really? Or are you just saying that, or are you just here today? Because I guess I got the right day. And she said, no, I work on this shave ice truck is mine right here that you bumped into me in front of. How about a shave ice? And Fourbridge said, is this is your shave ice stand? And she said, it's a truck that's parked here. So, yes, it is. And Fourbridge said, yeah, I'd love one, but how about I come and buy you one after you get off of work? And she laughed again, the kind of laugh that makes your hair, that makes you, they say, holy cow. And she said, sure, but I'll charge you full price. And make sure to tip. Maybe we could skip the ice and get dinner instead, because I'll probably be hungry for dinner, because even if I have shaved, and Forbridge said, okay. So they went out to dinner, and Forbridge was immediately smitten, and then they went out again. But there's something, she was busy, and Forbridge also noticed that the shaved ice business was incredibly, like, the cash flow was monumental for such a small stand. And Forbridge said, that's interesting. And she also was like, we want to go biking, and Forbridge was, no, I'm taking a break. And she said, why? And Forbridge says, complicated family stuff, work stuff. And I'd be like, and she said, well, you look pretty fit. And Forbridge said, I am. And then she laughed at that, because she said, who says that except for people like that actually are? And she said, I like you a lot. Forbridge said, me too. And then Forbridge laughed, because Forbridge said, I meant you, and they laughed together. They kissed. And eventually she learned that Forbridge could run pretty fast while she was like the same speed for a distance while she was leisurely riding. So they did that for a time. And eventually she learned that, Forbridge was getting ready to go back to work for Bike Squad. And she said, you work for Bike Squad? And Forbridge said, yeah, I did. I don't know if I still will. Got into some, and she said, okay, well, but Forbridge said, oh, is that and she said, it's fine, I guess. She said, but I'll tell you what, I'm trying to run my shaved ice business. I don't want to associate with any of the, governing institutions. So, can you do me a favor and not come by, in uniform or talk about it at all? I'm sorry, but, it's just something I could tell you later, maybe one day. And Forbridge said, okay, as long as you don't ask me to go fast on a bike when I get back on to ride. And she laughed, because she said, are you serious? And Forbridge said, yeah, it's personal. I'll tell you about it one day. And then, even though they were both in their own personal dilemma, something there was still an established intimacy there based in truth, but not full knowledge of your own truth. They just, and so then they kissed, like a light kiss, but one that, there was like fireworks going off. Holy cow. Like, their hearts had touched one another for real, and metaphorically. I mean, definitely only metaphorically, definitely not for real, because that wouldn't be possible. But, and then the next day, Forbridge went back to work, and they said, did you think about, we looked at this thing, you're like, this is amazing stuff. And the boss said, I want to introduce you to a different division of the department. Because you're no longer going to be riding around and doing official business. You're going to be doing official business, but unofficially. And Forbridge said, what? And they said, come on in this other division. This is the division where people bike fast sometimes, occasionally when necessary. And this is a pretty drawn out part of the story, so I won't get into it. But basically, the boss said, I saw you had an edge, and it takes an edge to work in this department. No one even knows about it. And officially, since you were, off work, your story's going to go to all your coworkers and everybody out there that you've been let go because of, using non-OEM parts on a company bike, jumping off your bike and running, repeated times going fast. Also, we heard about you throwing your bike around. So you're no longer going to be, but you will still be with us as part of the department. You're still a member of Bike Squad, just a member of Secret Bike Squad. And Forbridge said, okay, sounds cool, actually. So I'll be able to go fast occasionally, and then Forbridge met the rest of the department, variety of personality types. The whole thing, a very, very archetypal experience, Secret Bike Squad. And but there's something about it that it felt very, like a lot of the archetypes were not the kind of fuzzy archetypes here. So, that they were still by the book. It was almost like these people had got into Secret Bike Squad because they loathed going fast, even faster than the regular run-of-the-mill person like Forbridge that loathed going fast. Because everything was about recuperating after occasionally riding your bike faster than at a leisurely pace. And maybe it was because Forbridge had fallen in love and taken some time off of work that this just seemed too extreme. And maybe because for a split second, Forbridge thought, when I'm going to be able to go fast and be free, because my heart's been running free mostly, and it's been in the arms of another who I feel like has seen me or has had a glimpse into me, that I'm aware that this is, this is just a kind, whatever, I don't know. I don't have the complicated words to describe it. Part of a system, a wheel that the Khaleesi would say is not acceptable. But Forbridge went along with it because a lot of these thoughts were still bubbling, and I'm only able to put them together because I get to tell the tale and try to, this was a training, and it didn't just happen in 1 minute. Just like Forbridge didn't fall in love with the nameless person they were in love with in a minute. It only took a few days. This training took a few weeks. And it kind of worked out because Forbridge had said, well, I sworn to secrecy of Secret Bike Club. So even going back to Shaved Ice Place to see Dimplina, it'd be easier if her name was like Mia, but Dia. And she said, well, how'd your first day back at work come? Thanks for coming in your regular clothes. And Forbridge said, I don't work there anymore. I've been let go. I'm working at my uncle's shop now, working on leisurely bicycles that can only, bicycle governance 101. That way I could keep paying the old bills. And she laughed at that. And she said, so you're not on Bike Squad anymore. And she was very happy about it. So happy about it that Forbridge said, well, I didn't realize it's such a big deal. Why is it such a big deal to you that I'm not on Bike Squad anymore? And she said, it just is. And she kissed him. And she said, you'll understand when you meet my family. And Forbridge said, oh, boy, I'm going to meet your family. Barely ever talk about them. And she goes, well, I haven't not, she goes, my family is, she goes, don't worry about it. And Forbridge said, okay. Now, meanwhile, back at the Secret Bike Squad, they said, there's this, group of people that ride their bikes really fast. They call themselves the Furrow Free. And we also suspect that they're doing other stuff and making money doing it. And they're representing without being taxed, which is, that's not going to fly. So we want you to get all the info you can. And they showed Forbridge to the members of this. And the person that Forbridge had met was pretty low down, Furrow Free. But, it was this guy, Don, and a couple other people. But Don was the leader. And it just so happened that the next day was the day Forbridge was supposed to eat dinner with Dia's family, and of course went over, and Dia met Forbridge at the door and hugged him and kissed him and said, I want to show you around. And she said, this is my cousin, this is her partner, this is, old Squiggles, don't worry, Squiggles is a real grouch, and then went out to the backyard and said, this is the heart of my family, my brother Don. And Forbridge said, wah, wah, and then Don turned around from the grill, and it was Don from the secret bike squad that they're looking into. And then Forbridge realized that a lot of them had furrow-free jackets. And Don said, I heard you used to work for bike squad. You got fired, and whatever. Forbridge said, yeah, I tricked out my bike, and I went too fast too many times, and then I would, so they let me go. And Don just laughed and said, well, it's good to have you here. Dia seems to love you. Maybe I'll learn to like you or tolerate you. Hardy har har. And this pattern went on for a little while. And meanwhile, Forbridge did not tell work that he's hanging with, but they said, we want you to get in and get into these furrow-free races where you could earn some money. We'll even stake you. And eventually, Don and Forbridge became kind of not buddies, but close enough and say, hey, why don't you come out to what we do at night to our bit larger family? And Forbridge said, okay. And they went out, and it was actually like a beautiful, biking festival. There was bike races, but there was also, different styles of bike races. There was family stuff. It was wholesome. I mean, there was a section where you say, okay, that's but for the most part, it was like an experience. And there was a lot of equipment, helmets and elbow pads and knee pads and bike repair, scrape cleaning. And Forbridge said, what is this? And he said, this is a furrow-free club, kid. He tapped him right on his furrow, and he goes, no furrows allowed, hardy har har. And Forbridge said, well, that's just the way I am. And Don said, we'll see if we can't do something about that. I want you to go on a dirt bike race with me and go as fast as you can. And they did. And then they did it again the next weekend. And then they did, different races. But Forbridge started to see that this was its own belief system, that this was a community. I guess it was an unstructured belief system, but they believed in going fast and free and fun, but in a way that supported one another. Or if if you rode on the dirt, sometimes the dirt rode on you. The family's there to pick you up, right? I think that's what Don said one time. And meanwhile, Forbridge was pretty good at these bike races, different ones. And so Forbridge started to earn some money. And then Forbridge said, what do I do with this money? Because... And Don said, well, you don't have very much right now, so don't worry about it. But eventually, it depends on if you want to be, you're outside of the system now, kid. And so you have to figure out a way to put the money back in the system, or you remain outside the system. And Forbridge says, what's the system? He said, well, we live in a place where there's an official belief system and an official government, and they like to take money twice a week, 4 times a year and on Sundays, too. And in a non-optional manner. And so but this is not, because this is kind of it's not its own belief system. We don't run counter to their beliefs. I mean, I guess we do, but just because we believe in riding fast and safe doesn't mean it negates them riding at a leisurely pace. You understand? And Forbridge said, ever since I met your sister, I understand right here. And Don cried a little bit because he said, because that's where your furrow melts away, by the way, right there. And he hugged him. And he said, explained like how that's what the shaved ice stand did, but it also generated its own money, and Dia liked running it and came up with their own, mixes and all that stuff. But eventually, Secret Bike Squad was saying, you got to get some results here, man. And then they started putting a secret biker on him. So then what happened was they figured out the shaved ice thing first. And me and Dia got in trouble, but no one knew why. Not even Forbridge at first, till he went over to meet her for a date. And Don said she got run in because somehow they figured out about the shaved ice being a business. That no shaved ice place could generate, $40 million a year or whatever. And I guess that's, and Don was mad at Don's self instead of anybody else. And, just said, I knew we should have expanded. And Forbridge said 40, and Don said, I'm just kidding, but too much, not enough shaved ice. Needed more than one banana stand, as they say. So then Forbridge went back, put 3 and 3 together and went back to Secret Bike Club and said, you been following me? And they said, you're darn right we've been following you because you haven't been following the rules, kid. We were aware that you're sitting at, that you made money. Bike, we could see the joy in your heart. Look at this picture. Your furrow has decreased to 80%, and blah, blah, blah. And then it was really boring because then Forbridge had secretly been getting a patent based on their, all their work with the flick stands, because ended up there was way other applications. And and also Forbridge had hired forensic, numbers people. And they said, actually, the shaved ice stand has paid everything. And in some sense, it's not even, I guess it's a misrepresentation, because this was all being done in the secret bike courts, CBCs or whatever, or SBCs. And Forbridge was like, so this isn't going to stand. I'm going to do something about this. And then what happened was they leaked the things to Don, the Secret Bike Squad, to totally put so that Forbridge would have no other options. And then there was this big chase where Forbridge was chasing Don, and they're chasing each other. And Forbridge said, well, listen, finally they were like, why are we chasing each other when we should just talk this out? And Forbridge explained everything. And first Don was really upset. And he said, we have to race for it, the forensic audit and everything. And if I win, you give me all the audit stuff, and you never see Dia again, or me, or anybody. But Forbridge said, I got one other piece of secret, leverage. And Don said, I don't want to know about it because I don't trust you anymore, but I kind of do. Well, I love you, but I don't trust you. And meanwhile, me and my sister's, in trouble because of you. And Forbridge said, okay, well, if I win, I want to be part of the family forever. meaning, your sister and I will get married, and you'll accept me, and you'll see that I'm trustworthy as a person, not perfectly trustworthy. But even my career at Secret Bike Squad was built on untruths. So they had this big race. It was a multi-stage race, multi-type of bikes. Of course, Don dominated the whole time. But there was a section that was like through a mud thing. And what happened was Don had this huge lead so that they said, when I go through the mud thing, you have to go at a slow, leisurely pace to get through the mud. But as long as I have this giant lead, there's no way this kid's ever going to catch up. And it was the last stage of the race because it was like it takes focus to ride your bike through this deep mud at a leisurely pace. So Don's focused. Now, meanwhile, they set all the rules, and Forbridge was listening. So as soon as Forbridge hit the mud, Forbridge picked up the bike, which was very heavy. And this is why it wasn't a rule. It was like, for most people, it would have been impossible to run with the bike through the mud and catch up with Don. But not so for Forbridge because of their excellent fitness, steely blue eyes, and their experience at running, and probably running with a bike at other times that didn't make it in this story. And so Forbridge won the race, just barely, got on their bike and rolled across the finish line right before Don. And then told Don about the patent on the kickstand, or the flick stand, and that they had a patent, and it was powerful multi-use device, and that even though there was no separation of belief systems and governance, there was a third, there was the third power, or whatever they call it, with, where stuff was decided like that. That's why the forensic audit went so well, too. And now they had this patent. They couldn't just take the patent from me. They'd have to compensate me. And they'd already started putting these flick stands on every bike in the department, on Bike Squad and Secret Bike Squad, and even Kitty Bike Squad. And Don said, so? And said, so I'll give him a patent in exchange for them realizing that there was nothing, that we'll just close down the shaved ice business and all be good. And then we'll go back to, and Don said, I'll have to think about it. And he needed some time. Dia needed some time. But, love and family, they always meander their way back. So when they realized that Furrowbridge's plan worked, they were all amazed. And eventually they all held each other back in open arms and happiness as one big family. The end. And that was the story of the Fast and Furrowous. Good night. All right, I want to thank everybody who became a patron recently. Laurel, Raquel, and Payne. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Marty, Dave, and Ariane. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Kira, Carl, and Marcia. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Maz, Sarah, and Lisa. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Michelle, Aaron, and Star. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Mel, Sarah, and Crystal. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Christine, Teresa, and Evan. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Joe, Don, and Taylor. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Desmond, Evie, and Jill. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Lee, Clint, and Robert. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Colette, Yuho, and Brittany. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Sierra, Marita, and Amanda. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Holly and Bell Guy. Thank you, thanks, and good night. And Cody and Julianne. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Thanks, everybody, for supporting our show. Literally comes out free twice a week because of people you just heard that support the show on Patreon. And the listeners who support our sponsors couldn't do it without all of you. Thank you so much. We grow the show by spreading the word. And if you want to join our community, be a part of, sign up at sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnightmission, sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnightmission. Join in, hang out, catch up And I'll say, see you there. Thanks and good night. Oh, and no, here's a Tuck You In sponsor. That's why I've been able to push almost 500 free episodes out, where last year at the time we only had 200. Thanks to the sponsor.